All right, good morning to everybody. Larry Krueger with you on the KMBR YouTube channel for 49ers Forecast. That's right. And we've been doing Niners Nightly all week, really for the last few weeks. And of course, you can catch Niners Nightly on KMBR on the radio side from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, an hour dedicated only to 49er football. So we'll be on from 6 to 7 o'clock on the Sports Leader on KMBR 680 on the AM dial, 104.5 on the FM dial, except when there's Giants baseball. And because there's been a lot of Giants baseball here in September, we've done a number of the shows in the first couple weeks on the KMBR YouTube channel right here. So when we're not on the radio, we will be on the YouTube channel eventually when the Giants finish up here in about, 8 games I think the Giants have left. We'll be on both. We'll be on both Monday through Friday for Niners Nightly from 6 to 7 p.m. So you catch Copeland and Tommy in the afternoon, and when they sign off at 6 o'clock, I will take it from 6 to 7. And then at 7 o'clock, I'll hand the reins over to whoever's doing Sports Phone that night, I believe Kerry Crowley. So Monday through Friday, you can catch Niners Nightly from 6 to 7 p.m. on KMBR or KMBR's YouTube channel. Then on Saturdays, right here in this spot, normally you're going to be able to catch 49er Forecast on the radio. And we were on the radio last Saturday, but the Giant game today, this time got moved around and they moved the game up. So we are only on the YouTube channel today. So only on YouTube today, but normally 49er Forecast will air on Saturdays, probably around 10 to 11. It may move around, but it will be on the radio. And so this week, we're just on YouTube, but we got a great hour ahead. And what we're going to do this hour is next segment, we're going to get into some of my locker room interviews that I did this week on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, there's 3 real key guys that I think I want to play you. One is Renardo Green, the Niner rookie corner, who I think is going to get a much more significant role going forward, whether it be in the slot or on the outside. Renardo's a really good cover guy. He's really cerebral, very intense guy. Talked to him at his locker a couple days ago. We'll let you hear some of that conversation. Huff is going to be back. Talanoa Hufanga is back for the Niners, and none too soon, because the Niners had major communication breakdowns in week 2 in Minnesota, and Huff can, he's the best communicator there is, the Niners, at least for the Niners on the back end. So he'll be back. He's coming back from the ACL. He's worked his way back. He's chomping at the bit. Oh, my God, this guy loves football, and he wants to be out there so bad. So we'll hear from Hufanga. We caught up with him in the locker room for a few minutes this week. And then Fred Warner. I asked Fred Warner about punching the ball out. Right now, Fred Warner has taken his game to the next level. I would give Fred Warner my Defensive Player of the Year award vote 2 weeks in, because this guy understands. He's taken his game to the next level. He understands that possession of the ball is everything. And so he is just coming into the, to tackle the running back, and he's looking for that ball, and he's just punching it out. I mean, he is literally targeting the ball and just not worrying about wrapping or tackling. It's just punch that ball out as fast as we possibly can. And he's doing an incredible job of it. I mean, he's really playing at a high level. So Fred Warner, I didn't know if he would plateau this year, if he would decline a little bit. He seems like he's getting better because he's a smarter player. And right now he understands, the ball is everything, and he's punching it out. So we'll hear from those 3 guys next segment. And then bottom of the hour, there's 3 other guys on the offensive side. We split it up with defense and offense. In that third segment, we're going to get into the offensive side of the ball. Likely no George Kittle. So Eric Saubert is going to have to step up. So is Jake Tongas. Saubert's a really interesting guy, and we caught up with him at his locker this week. We'll let you hear some of that conversation. I did a one-on-one yesterday with Jacob Cowing. Cowing, according to Lynch, he went on KMBR on Friday morning in his regular spot on the KMBR morning show with Murph and Marcus. It was Marcus and Kerry on Friday, and they had John on the show, and John pointed out that he thought that it might be a spot here for Cowing to potentially step up and get a more significant role in this game against the Rams. So I talked to Jacob about that, about his punt muff from last week. He owned it. We talked a little bit about technique and that kind of thing. And then one of my favorite guys, and another guy, one of the interesting things to watch for today, if you're a 49er fan, is who who gets called off the practice squad? Is it going to be Terrace Marshall, the wide receiver, because of the injuries at wide receiver? Or is it going to be Keyshawn Vaughn because of the injuries at running back? The Niners have two young veterans in Terrace Marshall and Keyshawn Vaughn, who I think were outstanding John Lynch pickups. And I don't think people even realize, as we sit here on the 21st of September, how valuable those two pickups are eventually going to be. But Keyshawn Vaughn is a very good NFL running back who was a great college running back. And there's still, I mean, he's not old and he's not slow. He's not afraid either. And Terrace Marshall ran 4.37 coming out of LSU. He goes to Carolina. They had a bunch of new OCs. They had a bunch of new head coaches, all kinds of turnover at quarterback, bad organization. And it just didn't work out. But guess what? Terrace Marshall can play. And I'm watching this guy in practice every day going, I'm looking around at the other media people. I'm like, are you guys watching this? I mean, he's crisp. He catches the ball. He's got 4.3 speed. He's big. I mean, we're talking about 6'2", 210 pounds. Big receiver with good straight line speed, with a lot of experience, plucks the ball with his hands, was a great 5-star high school recruit once upon the time coming out of Louisiana, went to LSU, won a national championship. And it's amazing. Justin Jefferson has become the best. Jamar Chase has become the best. I mean, these guys are at the very top of their profession. And Terrace Marshall, who was considered to be the best of the three in high school, is now kind of still trying to find his career. And it didn't work out in Carolina, but it's going to work out here. And I've talked to Terrace a few times, and I'm fired up to see him get called off the practice squad. So does Terrace Marshall get the call for tomorrow? Or is it Keyshawn Vaughn? Or is it neither? Do they go with somebody else? Do they go with Braden Willis? I know they're going to go with Braden Willis. I talked to Mason Pline. I said, Mason, you getting the call up? He said, no, they're giving it to Willis. So Willis will get one of the two practice squad recalls. So we know it will be Willis. I just don't know who the other guy is going to be. And if it's announced here during this hour, we'll give it to you. But this first segment, what I want to do is there were some amazing sound bites this week from Santa Clara. So I'm going to share the screen and we're going to play a couple of them right here. The first one you're going to hear is Forster. And I asked Forster, a lot of people are asking me, what about Brendel? Jake Brendel was the lowest graded 49er pass protection offensive lineman this week. He got the lowest PFF grade. And so, I like Drake Nugent a lot. I like Nick Sakel a lot. I think Feliciano is, I got to be honest, and I like Brendel. And Brendel's a good dude, but I kind of think that some of those other guys might be better options. Brendel has not done well. 2 years ago, he's a Pro Bowl alternate. Last year, we saw some significant regression. This year, he just got bounced around. His negative plays in this Viking game were so negative that it was just like, wow. I mean, you look at some of those plays and you're like, this guy, they got to replace this guy. And I don't like being the guy saying, oh, they got to replace this guy, because I'm going to go into the locker room and I'm going to face all these guys up. I'm going to face up Jake Brendel. I'm going to talk to Jake. So it's like the last thing I want to do is be like, they need to bench Jake. But if I felt that, I would say it regardless if I have to face him up or not. But I do feel bad because these guys, they're out there doing their best and we're critiquing the whole thing. But I'm going to call it the way I see it. Here is me asking a question that I'm sure Jake probably doesn't like. I'm asking his coach, Chris Forster, why Brendel is better than the other guys. Here it is.
Perception is that Brendel might have struggled when I watched all 22. I might be wrong, but you have a lot of centers here. What you're obviously going with him. He's the starter. Why is he better than your other options at center?
Well, first of all, he had a better game than he did the first game. Everybody did for the most part. Hard to believe with the sack production and things like that. But we did take a step forward in a lot of ways. I think some of the bad plays stood out, and so that's it. Oh, he right now is he's a much better option. Quickness, intelligence, experience, one-on-one pass blocking ability to finish in the run game on the second level, his ability to snap off on double teams. I just listed off about 7 or 8 things there that are all he's better than Barch, he's better than Zakelj, he's better than Nugent, he's better than a lot of players as to why he was an alternate last year at the Pro Bowl level, because he does have a lot of those traits that do those things, and he's never perfect. There's like all of us, it's every year's different, and we got to work our way into this year and see. Maybe some of these issues that we've seen will stick around. So maybe they won't. We'll have to see.
So, I mean, and I respect the hell out of Chris. He's one of the great offensive line coaches in the game, and he's covering his guy a little bit, and he knows exactly what I'm getting at. He knows exactly why we're asking the questions. These guys know it all. I mean, they really do. They watch all the film. They know what we're questioning. They know why we're questioning it. I thought that was interesting. Now, Chris is also really good if you want to get like the bottom line on, what happened on this play, what happened on that play. And he's really good at kind of painting the picture. I'm going to share the screen. I asked him about this sack on Brock Purdy that Trent Williams gave up. And this was a great play by Blake Cashman, the linebacker for Minnesota. And I asked Chris about this, and kind of an interesting discussion. And Kev put together the video up top, so you can watch a little bit of the video of the play. Here's Forster, and I asked him on this play, what's going on here? Because the linebacker Cashman, who you're seeing up top here, just ricochets off of Trent after he sets kind of wide, and just ricochets off his right shoulder right into the quarterback, and Purdy never had a shot. And here's Forster's perspective on the play.
Cashman kind of ricocheted off Trent and got the quarterback. They were playing some kind of a game up front.
Oh yeah. Oh,
think of that play. Was there a miscommunication?
No. Nope, it's Trent. Trent turned too quick, and the guy ran a pick stunt. It's a very, very common thing that happens. It was a byproduct of what happened was we had a very similar protection earlier, and Trent set really good and did a good job on his guy, and there's another guy free, and it forced kind of the one where Purdy got sacked. He kind of just backed into it, and the whole thing kind of collapsed around him. There was that sack. There's still a lot to remember, but anyway, got kind of collapsed in around him, and so Trent was feeling like, I can't set his vertical, because he felt like that was his problem. It wasn't. Purdy kind of ran into Trent. Well, the next time we got a third down, Trent said, I got to go set wider, and it's the exact thing you can't do when they run that pick game, because Banks can't necessarily get his hands on the guy just by the angles and what it is. So Trent has to, I say, you have to protect yourself from that pick, and you have to, and it's harder when it comes from depth. You don't see it as quickly, and it did. It came, and Trent flipped his hips too soon, which we did the whole game. We did a lot of things too much that caused the problem. But it's like I said, I'm glad it happened week 2 and not week 12, and that's something to build on and happen. But that's 100%. That's on Trent. He's got to feel. He's got to see it. It's a good game by them. Pointing the finger and say Trent's got to see that. And Banks maybe could have helped, but I don't think Banks could have helped much on that one.
So a good evaluation there from Forster, and that's kind of what I love about Forster, is that he gives you a lot. I mean, he doesn't give you short answers or non-answers. He answers the question, and you may not always agree with him, but he answers the question. All right, I'm gonna play one more here before we take a break, and that is the question that I asked Nick Sorensen. And I like Sorensen. I really felt after week 1 that he was the right guy for the job. Then week 2, obviously things didn't go as well. The big play was the Jefferson 97-yard touchdown. I asked Sorensen about this play, if he wanted Odom on Jefferson. He doesn't really answer. So listen to my question, listen to his answer, and hear if you hear an answer to my question in his answer.
The signature play of this game was probably the Jefferson touchdown, and it appeared he was lined up against Odom. Is that the matchup that you wanted?
Yeah, I mean, it was in those situations, they made a great play. He made a great throw and catch. And obviously you want to execute better. And you always look at yourself, like I said, how can we be better in those situations? That goes for myself, the players, everybody. So it's just, they made a heck of a play. It was a really good throw, really good catch and finish.
See, so I mean, there you go. I mean, I like the accountability in that, hey, it's on me, it's on the players, it's on this. But the bottom line is that's not really an answer. The question was, you had George Odom matched up at the line of scrimmage with the best receiver in football. Is that the matchup you wanted? And I think a little bit more transparency there would have been like, hey, you know what? That wasn't an ideal matchup. That wasn't exactly the matchup we wanted. They did some things to get into that match. Whatever, some perspective on why a guy who's barely played at all and played mostly special teams and is now a safety because of injuries from scrimmage. How does that guy get matched up with the best receiver in football in a man-to-man situation off the line of scrimmage where there's no chance he could run with 4-4 Justin Jefferson, and he didn't. And then there was no chance that Jair Brown sitting, 17 yards off the outside hash, flat-footed, could turn and burn and run with Jefferson. Jair runs 4.6 and Jefferson runs 4.4 flat. And that's what it looked like as Jefferson just ran right by him. By the way, Spy Nick Danger says, hit the like button. That's right. Hit like and subscribe. If you hit like, more people find the show in the algorithm and we'll get more people in here watching. If you hit subscribe every time we go live, if you click that notification bell, every time KMBR goes live, you will get a little notification saying that we're going live. Joe Schmo says, Krug, hogging Marty's YouTube time. You know what? Marty will be on at top of the hour on YouTube. I don't make the decisions here. I just work here. Blame somebody else. Tell Marty I apologize. We got this one from the great Kyle McKiernan in the house. He says, at KMBR, keep up the good work, Mike Holler. I've been listening forever, and I think you're turning things around in the correct direction. How about that? Holler gets a little shout out. And we have this one from the Sports Leader. Good morning, everyone. Go Niners. There you go. Kyle McKiernan says, I can't believe I just turned off Marty and Talking Baseball to listen to Larry. Talking Baseball is absolutely one of my favorite things, and the Giants are sad from the office down to the field. Yes. Well, what can you say? It's been a trying year. Trying year for the home nine, for sure. But there you go. Three interesting, what I thought interesting little back and forths between me and Chris Forrester and me and Nick Sorensen. And I hope you enjoyed some of those questions that we asked at the podium. Let me throw one more here because I thought this was kind of an interesting one. This was Kyle Shanahan. And Kyle Shanahan, I asked Kyle Shanahan, what is your relationship with McVay? I know you guys work together in Washington, but is he a friend? Is he a rival? Are you guys buddies? Will you get together on the field before the game? And Kyle says something here that I thought was really interesting. Listen to Shanahan talking about his relationship with McVay. Kyle, what kind of relationship do you have with McVay? Are you guys friends? Are you rivals? And will you talk to him on the field before the game? What kind of dialogue do you guys have?
Yeah, I love Sean. Sean's an awesome dude. I don't talk to really anybody before games. I just come out there late, knock out our pregame, then I go back in and get ready for our game. So it's not really much of a social event for me before games. But Sean and I, we were friends back in the day, and I usually get to see him at owners' meetings where that's where we'll hang out the most, lunch, have drinks together, stuff like that. But, when it comes to friends and stuff, it's, we work a lot, both of us. We both have families, so there's people you're friends with your whole life, but it's not like we're texting and hanging out throughout a season together, which would probably go the case with all my friends.
So there you go. But I thought it was interesting just the fact that Kyle says, I don't go on the field before the game. I don't do any of that handshake stuff. Lots of coaches get together on the field hours before the game. They shake hands. Hey, have a good game. Good to see you. How's your wife? How's your kids? How's your, Kyle doesn't do that, man. He's all business on game day. He doesn't want to have any chit chat on the field before the game. All right, we're going to take a timeout right here. We're going to come back in the next segment, and we're going to get into some of the defensive players that I talked to this week inside the 49er locker room as we continue on 49er Forecast. We'll do a segment on the Niner offense. We'll do a segment on the Niner defense, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the keys to victory and what the Niners actually look like right now. As we continue, we'll take a timeout right here. We'll be back in a minute on 49er Forecast on KMBR 680, the sports leader. All right, welcome back to 49er Forecast on the KMBR YouTube channel. Larry Krueger with you this morning on the YouTube side exclusively because Giants baseball got moved around on this Saturday. Giants playing, of course, we'll hand the reins to Marty Lurie at 11 o'clock, and he will jump on here on YouTube as well as being on the radio. But this segment, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Niners on the defensive side and play some of those interviews that we talked, some of the guys we talked to this week. Let's start with Renardo Green. Renardo Green is a rookie corner out of Florida State. He's got a lot of talent. This guy's really like a veteran. He's very, very serious, as you'll see in this interview. Very serious guy. Very, very chill guy. But here is a little conversation with Renardo Green, and then we'll come back in a minute and talk a little bit about it. Renardo Green.
All right, we're here in the Niner locker room with Renardo Green, Niners rookie. How you feel 2 games into your NFL career? How's it going so far? How do you feel?
I'm good. Just, taking the steps I need to take, learning, playing my game, and, just trying to make plays.
You were a playmaker at Florida State, and now you come here. Do you feel more comfortable outside, inside? How were you used at Florida State?
My whole time at Tallahassee, I played corner and safety with some nickel experience, and out here, I'm kind of doing the same, going inside, outside. So it's not nothing like too different. Just making sure that you be on top of the details. Really, that's the biggest thing I should say.
You mentioned safety. You play free safety at Florida State. How much experience? How many games did you play at free safety?
I did like 2 years at free safety.
And so you feel like comfortable. If somehow they said, "Hey, Renardo would like to play at free safety," you feel comfortable there, huh?
It's a whole different terminology and things. I don't think that they would do that, but if I had to, whatever best for the team, the coaches asked me to do it, we would, but I don't think that they'll do that.
How tough is it to come into a room and communicate well right out of the chute? There's going to be, it seems like early in the year, there's going to be some communication breakdowns. Did you see that when you watched the film against Minnesota?
Everybody on defense just got to be on one accord. And all that starts in practice. There's no such thing as a perfect game, so things happen. So it's really just about trying to be consistent as possible, and really just doing your job and making your plays. Coming in, just being with somebody like Fred in there, and he talks a lot, and then our safeties, they talk a lot. So it's not too complicated because it's a lot of verbal going on out there. It's just making sure you do your job and execute the call.
Who's the leader in that DB room? Is there one guy that you would say is the leader of that room?
If I had to say somebody, I'd say
Mooney?
Yeah.
Just because he's a strong presence, a veteran. Have you been able to steal anything from Mooney or Demo, as far as things that you could adopt to your game this summer?
Yeah, there's been a few things for both of them I done picked up since I've been here.
Really? Anything that you could share with us? What are good things that they've done that you've said, hey, I like that?
What you trying to do? One thing I say, I ain't gonna say it all, but
Sure.
One thing I say from Demo is just, being decisive in, what you do. And then thing I say about Moon, is, trusting in your technique. It's something I already knew, but just put more emphasis on it, being intentional with things you do.
A couple last ones about you. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
People kind of associate me with a Papa because I kind of my high school was over there and I was in that area too, though.
Florida State all the way, or who was it between in high school when you were coming out?
I wanted to stay somewhere in Florida, but then when I committed to Florida State, it became between Florida State and Ohio State.
Florida State, Ohio State. Yeah. And what gave Florida State the nod? Your family say, Renardo, we can't let you go to Ohio, or?
I committed to Florida State because I grew up a Florida State fan. I always wanted to go there, but the deal breaker was Urban Meyer leaving.
Oh, okay.
Because I was there when Urban Meyer was the one who offered me.
Gotcha.
He left. He was gonna leave before I got there, so I just stayed with Florida State.
Now you're a young guy, but Deion, was Deion one of your guys? Deion's obviously older, but growing up in Florida, being a Florida State fan and playing corner.
Yeah.
You ever meet Deion?
I met Deion in high school and Under Armour camp before, but never at FSU.
Never at FSU. He's a legend, man. Last one. What do you think of the Bay? What do you enjoying Northern California? What do you think of our weather? What do you think of of the Bay Area so far?
It's all right. You know, I'm Floridian as it gets, so
Yeah.
yeah, like Florida is gonna be what it is, but it's been all right since I've been out here.
Yeah. Well, hey man, good luck to you. We see bright things in your future. Thanks for a few minutes.
Appreciate it.
There you go, little Renardo Green, and real Texas. He's clearly nervous. No, he wasn't nervous. He's not nervous. He just, some guys love to talk. Other guys are, they just want to let their play do the talking. Another guy who's going to be back absolutely huge this week is Talanoa Hufanga. And Hufanga is, one of the things that Hufanga does is he communicates. And one of the things the Niners badly, badly need on the back end is better communication. They got to have better communication. And Hufanga is a big part of that communication being better. And he's been chomping at the bit. He's been walking around trying to get back. He's been revving it up the last few weeks, and he's coming back. He's coming back on Sunday, and he's super fired up to be back. And let's hear from Talanoa Hufanga right here. Hufanga is one of the real leaders in the room, and I think one of the things that you saw in this Viking game was just a lot of busted plays. It was a busted play on the Jefferson play. It was a busted play on the Naylor touchdown. It was a busted play on the Powell 3rd and 11 catch on the final drive. You can't have coverage busts and win games, and you can't have 4 or 5 coverage busts in the second half of a game on the road and win games against a good team. So here we go. Here's Hufanga in the locker room talking, and you'll see at one point Demo Lenore tries to throw a question in here. Here's Talanoa.
I'm just super excited, super blessed. First and foremost, just all praise to God, just getting me back on the field, and got a great team and support and great staff that's really helped me through a lot of this process for sure. I've been here the whole time. Usually I like to go down and be with Troy, but this was a different time period for myself, and so being back with some great people, it's been amazing.
Nick Sorensen was saying that you can actually get better through mental reps when you don't play for a long time if you really take it seriously. Do you think that you become a better player even while not playing all this time because you've been so mentally into it?
Definitely. It's crazy because the part of this process is the volume aspect. You can never put too much volume early on, so there's not a lot of running aspect to it. So a lot of it was just me watching film, and so I pride myself on watching film already, but on top of that, I watched hours and hours of film and really just correct my mistakes. I think Troy really set it up for me, and my coaches, specifically DB. He's like, go and pinpoint everything. And I went back and watched all of my good plays, bad plays, mediocre plays, and really just detailed out everything because there's so much more to learn. There's so much more being a sponge and just absorbing all this knowledge that they have. And so it's been good though.
How's the Head and Shoulders?
The Head and Shoulders is not in the works because I'm a Bath and Body Works guy, and so Bath and Body Works, shout out to them. So it's good.
Teammates over there, they were sitting over there. You talked about the closest of the DB room and what that's meant for you.
Well, for me, as much as I'm quiet, I love to be out there with the guys, and I really truly miss that in this opportunity. Like being training camp, it's a different schedule for me because everybody's out there practicing, and I'm off to the side doing my rehab in the weight room, lifting, doing something different, and so I missed out on a lot of those things. And so just being back with the guys is a lot of just being the juice, being the energy, and being a funny guy to lean on and have a good conversation because it's more than just football in this locker room, and I think that's what separates us from a lot of places. Just so we can go out there and play, trust each other, and have fun.
What were some of the lessons John Lynch shared with you when you were watching training camp practices?
Well, it's crazy because I remember talking to him last year, and this is before I got hurt.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was my eyes. Like, how can we detail out my eyes and the way that I play? Because he believes in me. He gives me the ability to go out there and play instinctually. And so a lot of it was like, what are we seeing with my eyes when we're back there watching together? Because a lot of it, you guys probably saw me out there. I'm standing next to him, just asking him, he's like, where are your eyes at on this play? What's this play? What are we doing? And how would you attack it if you were off?
So there you go. And it cut off abruptly there because we had a little technical issue in the locker room right there. But yeah, Talanoa Hufanga. And I think it was interesting that he was talking about how Lynch talked to him about his eyes. It's all about the safety. You don't want the quarterback to be able to read your eyes and to be able to manipulate him with your eyes. So it's a lot of times, it's a high level game in the middle of the field, and that's where your smartest players really hang out. That's what John Lynch was, and that's what Talanoa Hufanga is. They need him back there to kind of make sure everybody's on the same page. And another guy that is absolutely incredible is Fred Warner. And let's hear from Fred right here. Fred, Fred had a massive contingent of media people around his locker. And I got into this scrum a little late, but I did get a question in about his punt, how he likes to force the ball out and punch the ball out. And I just think that Fred this year is playing at such an incredible level that it's almost really hard to believe. I mean, that he could be this much better than he was a year ago. I mean, he has just been absolutely fantastic. He makes plays in the pass. He makes plays in the run game. Fred is punching the ball out. Possession is everything in football, and he's punching that ball out. He's making big play after big play after big play. And it's been incredible to watch, really. I mean, if you really think about it, what Fred Warner has done taking his game to another level this year is, I didn't even know if it was possible. I didn't know that he had another level to get to. But, man, he has been incredible. He was snubbed for the NFC Defensive Player of the Week award this week, 9 tackles. He forced 2 turnovers. He had an interception, a forced fumble. The guy had 2 pressures. He had a sack. But Jesse Bates, the Atlanta safety, had a 12-tackle game-sealing interception performance, so he beat out both Aiden Hutchinson, who had 4.5 sacks for the Lions against Tampa, and Fred. They both took a back seat to Jesse Bates, who won the Defensive Player of the Week award, but the NFC Defensive Player of the Week award. But, Fred right now is it's an amazing thing watching him do his thing. I mean, he is playing at such an incredible high level. So do we have time? Let's go a little Fred Warner right here. Here's Fred.
Don't want to drop the second and not the third straight. How important is that South atmosphere?
No, it makes a huge difference. I love our fans, the faithful. It doesn't matter where we go; they show up big time, but especially in LA. But it's the next game, one game at a time mentality, and we got a big opponent we got to be ready for.
You spoke on your podcast about being a guy that gives speeches for games. Obviously, you had a huge game in Minnesota. What's the speech going to be like in LA to get your other guys kind of on the same page as you?
Yeah, the message always remains pretty similar. It's just about controlling what you can control, being on the details, executing at a high level, and playing with a ton of physicality. Playing with your hair on fire, and I think we're going to be, riled up, ready to go.
Going in there without McCaffrey and Devo, looks like it's been 50 games where they both been off the field at the same time. I know that's not your side of the ball, but does it change anything at all going into the game for you?
No, like you mentioned, offense got to take care of that. Obviously, those are 2 big key playmakers. I think as a team, we're going to miss them just because of the electricity and the fire that both of those players bring. But at the end of the day, we got to go out, we got to execute, we got to find a way to win.
Fred, you're punching that ball out with a lot of ferocity. Is that from your off season doing some boxing, and is that a technique you can teach some of these other guys?
I guess that might be part of it. I think the whole punching the ball out thing is, it's all meant. First of all, it's something that you got to practice every single day to where it becomes muscle memory, because things are moving too quick out there on game day. A million miles a minute, or whatever the saying is. But you got to make sure that you can slow the game down enough to where you can even think about punching the ball out instead of just trying to get a guy on the ground, right? And so, I think the main part about that when I preach it to my teammates is just continuing to practice it day in and day out, so where it's muscle memory, not even thinking about it.
You made so many plays in that game, but after the game, you
appreciate it. Yep. Appreciate it.
There you go, a little Fred Warner inside the locker room there. All right, so we've Fred is just playing at a crazy level, and can they stop Blake Corum? Can they stop Kyron Williams? I mean, Fred's a big part of that plan tomorrow against the Rams. All right, those were some of the defensive guys that we caught up with this week, but man, there are some big players and key guys on the offensive side that we're going to talk about coming up next, including Eric Saubert, who's going to step in for George Kittle at tight end, Jacob Cowing, who John Lynch thinks is going to have a bust-out performance, and Keyshawn Vaughn, who's a veteran running back who's on the Niners practice squad, and he's got talent, and he's showed it in practice. We'll hear from those guys next as we continue with 49er Forecast on a Saturday on the Sports Leaders YouTube channel. All right, welcome back to 49er Forecast. Larry Krueger with you on a Saturday on KMBR's YouTube channel for 49er Forecast. Make sure you check out 49ers or Niners Nightly, which is going to air 6 to 7 o'clock and has been airing 6 to 7 o'clock on either YouTube or on the radio, depending on Giants baseball, every day, Monday through Friday. And we'll talk a lot about the Niners every night. And, of course, look ahead to their opponent coming up on Sunday. We've had a number of interesting guests stop by over the last couple of weeks, and we're really enjoying it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying some of the content as well. And when we're not on the radio, we're on right here on KMBR's YouTube channel. And then 49er Forecast is an hour-long show on Saturdays that we're doing throughout the football season. Normally it'll be on the radio. Today it's on YouTube because of Giants baseball. But in the first segment, or the second segment, we got into some of the Niners on the defensive side of the ball. Now let's jump over to the offensive side of the ball. Eric Saubert is likely going to start at tight end. Him and Jake Tongas are going to step in for George Kittle. And, man, I mean, this is a major one. George Kittle is a great player. He's a Pro Bowl caliber player. He's one of the best tight ends in the league. And Saubert is, he's been a journeyman. He's been around the league a number of times. He's been in a few different spots. He's a pretty strong guy as an inline blocker. He's a little bit underrated, I think, as a receiver. But here's Eric Saubert at his locker, and we talked a little bit with Eric about a number of things, but he's fired up. I mean, this is a big opportunity, and one of the questions I asked him was about the Niner culture. Here we go. Here's Eric Saubert.
A couple times now. George and I are the same draft class, and he played at Iowa. I played at Drake, which is in Iowa. So we linked at the combine and kind of kept in touch since then. So we've been friends for a while, and just being here too, getting to work with each other, it's been really awesome.
Has blocking always been your quote-unquote specialty? Have you been a blocking specialist?
Actually not, no. It's something I really had to work on when I got to the league. Drake was obviously a very different level of football, so coming in I had a lot to learn in that respect. But, it's something we're always working on. It's never easy. Just takes, repetition and doing it against the best people in the world at their respective positions. So.
Eric, the Rams have two really good edge rushers. I think it's pretty clear. What do they look like on film when you watch them?
Yeah, no, they're strong. They're long. They set the edge, like you said. Talented guys. So we got work cut out for us. They've got a good defense. It's a similar structure in terms of being a 3-4 as last week. So we've got those wide edge setters. It's a talented group. It'll be a challenge for sure.
Did you have your eyes on this place at all as soon as free agency hit? Or did you think, God, that'd be a good place to play? Or did it just kind of happen that way?
It's not like you get a million options, right? Yeah. But definitely an intriguing spot. I was in with the Texans last year. We ran a similar offense, right, with Slowick being there. So the carryover there was cool, and since I've been here, man, it's been a great fit for me. Working with Coach Fleury, he's been great for me. His coaching style, really happy it worked out the way it did.
As far as the blocking, when would you say you turned the corner there? And what was it that you learned that really kind of helped you become a good blocker?
I'd say around year 2. I gotta give a shout out to my guy Logan Paulson, who actually used to play here. Yeah. He was with me in Atlanta, and he was part of this scheme for a while with Coach Shanahan. So he taught me a lot, whether it be outside zone, inside zone, pass pro too, just about being a pro too, being a tight end. So shout out to him. I've carried a lot of those things, learned things. Obviously, I've been in a lot of places, so you can pick up different things on different places you go. I've worked with some great coaches too. So what you see out there is the culmination of 8 years of a lot of things, so I can't narrow it down to one thing, but it's always it's a process, right? It's very hard to do at the NFL level, so we're always looking to improve.
Is the culture here any different than the places you've been? You've been around the league in a couple spots. How would you compare this room and this organization to where other places you've been?
Yeah, I would just say that there's a high standard of performance, right? What I was kind of speaking to earlier. It's really cool though because it elevates your game. It makes you you got to be on your stuff, right? Every day, it doesn't change. You got to come to work with the expectation that the standard is what it is, and if you're not going to match that, you're not going to play here, right? Which is it's cool, and it's why the 49ers have been so successful.
This haircut is standard.
I guess I muted myself there. I was just going to say that, I think you're going to see a lot of Saubert and a lot of Tongas. You're going to see Saubert. I think he's an underrated blocker, but he can catch the ball a little bit. Tongas has caught literally every single thing that was thrown his way this summer. So I'm encouraged by the Niner tight ends and what we may see from Tongas and from Saubert in this game on Sunday. I just think that Saubert is a really strong guy who's got a little bit better hands than I think a lot of people thought coming out. And then Tongas is I don't know if that he dropped a ball all summer. So I'm really eager to see what the Niners have, looked like without Kittle. To me, this on paper, it was like, man, you can't lose Kittle. If you lose Kittle, that's a nightmare. But you know what? These guys have actually played pretty well this summer, and I'm eager to see how they perform in week 3 here against the Rams. All right, let's hear from Jacob Cowing. Cowing is another guy. John Lynch went on the morning show and said that we're going to see more of Cowing this week. Jacob Cowing is an interesting kid. He's a great kid. He played a full career. He played at UTEP, then he played at Arizona. Really wants to be good. He obviously muffed the punt last week. We talked about it. Here's a little bit of Jacob Cowing inside the 49er locker room. And we'll let you see some of that right here.
Jacob Cowing, Niners rookie wide receiver. And John Lynch said this morning that he thinks there's a very good chance that you get a little bit more run in this game. Do you anticipate maybe getting a little bit more playing time?
As of right now, I'm not too sure. It's kind of still up in the air from my perspective. But if my number is called, I'm definitely ready to go out there and, to give everything I can, give 100%, try and contribute to a W at the end of the day. So if my number gets called, I'm ready. If not, I'm just going to continue to learn, grow as a player and also as an individual and just continue to go.
Yeah, it's the right attitude for sure. What have you learned since? You're a veteran. You played at UTEP, you played at Arizona, you played a lot of college football, but obviously this is a different level. What have you learned since, let's say, day one of minicamp to today? How are you a better player?
Yeah, better. I would say definitely just learning different techniques from different players. Moving from college to the NFL, everyone's a lot faster, everyone's a lot smarter, everyone knows their techniques, everything like that. So you kind of got to do like a what's it called? What's the right word I'm looking for? I guess like a mind shift to evolve a little bit, to understand other guys and their techniques and trying to understand them, so then you can fix things on your end, so you can get open and create separation and stuff like that. So that's the biggest thing that I've seen, that everyone's a lot smarter and a lot faster and knows what they're doing for sure.
Take us into the wide receiver room. Like you're a rookie, Ricky's a rookie. You got some old heads in there, you got some veterans, and obviously a wide receiver coach. Yeah. What's your routine? What do you guys like? What kinds of things do they emphasize to you as a young player?
Yeah, the number one thing when I first got here was blocking. Run blocking for sure.
Yeah.
You got to get in there, kind of open up the lanes for the running back, get some explosive plays going for the running game to open up the pass game. And then also too, just they always, the one thing I've took in that they emphasize a lot is always be ready for your opportunity when your number's called. You never know when that's going to be. It doesn't matter if you're a 10-year vet. It doesn't matter if you're a rookie. Just be ready at all times, and just playing fast, playing confident, and just going out there having fun like you've been doing all your life playing football.
You mentioned you pick up some tricks of the trade from some of the veterans in that room. Is there one or two you can share with us, or is there a guy in that room that's you've taken something from him, or he took some time with you and maybe gave you some wisdom?
Yeah, I would say all the guys, all the veteran guys. They pulled me aside one by one, kind of gave me tips and advice that I can add to my game, and also tips and advice outside of the game too. Is just kind of just for me to grow up and become more of a man. And I appreciate the guys at the end of the day kind of helping me become and develop as a better player. So they give me great advice. I've been taking bits and pieces, adding it to my toolbox each and every time I've had conversations. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with those guys.
Every stadium's a little different. Last week, that stadium, I'm looking at the ceiling, and it's like this half of the stadium's dark.
Yeah.
That half of the stadium's like the face of the sun or something, was so bright. do you go out like in like elite SoFi? Will you go out and try to take some reps, trying to find the ball out of the ceiling of the stadium, or if it's a dome?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you gotta fix your eyes a little bit, your eye adjustment a little bit. The lighting's obviously a little bit different being in the dome, so it just depends on the stadium. It depends on how the light is hitting it. But I mean, I would like to go out there, kind of get my eyes adjusted, so I can track the ball a little bit better, know what to expect when the whistle blows and it's time to play some ball. So I'm ready for all that, and then just also to just continue to tracking the atmosphere of the stadium. Because if you're in a dome like that, there's not much really wind or atmosphere kind of things that kind of play into effect when the ball's up in the air. So just kind of get my feet comfortable, running to the ball, getting to my spot, just being comfortable and going out there playing fast.
I watch my kid plays high school football, and all the guys none of these kids pluck it with their hands. They all body catch it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're catching a punt as opposed to running a route, is there a different way that you want to catch the ball? Are you trying to pluck it with your hands as a punt returner, or can you kind of cradle it up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I would definitely say don't try and catch it like that. Don't do that. That's the fastest way for you to get benched.
To try to catch it.
For sure, yeah. Definitely try and catch it with your chest, kind of cradle it. That's the most secure, safest way that you can do it when it comes to punts. So I would say that's the number one thing when fielding a punt is to let it touch your chest, and then just cradle it after that.
Obviously, you had a rough one last week. Does that mentally wear on you in the game, or can you flush it and go on to the next play?
Yeah, that's just who I am. I like to flush it. I'm not trying to dwell on all those kind of things like that. Just kind of move on. Time moves on, so you just got to continue to go on and just continue to get better, and just don't make sure that those mistakes like that happen again. Just continue to grow and have fun with the game still.
Yeah, next play kind of mentality. Last one, Rams corners. I haven't really looked at the Rams 22 corners, but how do they look? How do they look on film to you? Does anything stand out about their corners?
Very smart. They know what they're doing. Very fast. Very physical. They know how to get hands on. They know how to drop. They know a lot of things, what kind of things to key on and stuff like that. So very, very good group. Very good secondary. I think it's going to be a great matchup for us to go out there, play some ball, and just let the best man win at the end of the day.
Hey, good luck Sunday, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Jacob Cowan.
Good dude, really good dude. And I felt bad for him because he muffed the punt, but man, he's hell bent to turn it around this week and have a great game. And you heard John Lynch on with Murph and Carey, or Marcus and Carey, I should say, on the Murph and Marcus show on Friday, say that, hey, get ready for Jacob Cowan. You're going to see the Niners need more separation at wide receiver, and Cowan can provide that. All right. Let's try to squeeze in Keyshawn Vaughn, because I love Keyshawn Vaughn. I think this kid's got a ton of talent. I think this was a great pickup. This kid was great at Vandy. He's not old. He's not hurt. And he's very cerebral player. He knows he's just biding his time, man. He's just biding his time. He knows that eventually it's going to be his time. And it may be as soon as tomorrow. I think we'll see a full dose of JP Mason, but as we talked about, Garendo's raw. Patrick Taylor has been only on this team for a few months. Obviously, Keyshawn Vaughn's has only been on this team a short amount of time as well, but he's also a veteran. He's had more carries and more experience than a Patrick Taylor. So I kind of think Keyshawn Vaughn might be a guy that they go to at some point. Right, he's not a home run hitter, but he's a good football player. Here he is inside the Niner locker room. Keyshawn Vaughn.
All right, we're here in the Niner locker room with Keyshawn Vaughn, one of the newest 49ers. Keyshawn, man, thanks for a few minutes. And I've been following your career, man. You were the state of Tennessee, Mr. Tennessee football coming out as and didn't go. You wound up at Vandy, but started at Illinois. How did you wind up leaving the state of Tennessee after being the best high school football player in the state that year?
Really, my thing was with Illinois. They was kind of 5-5, no, like 5-7 the year before I got there. So it was more of like I want to be a part of the turnaround process with them, the rebuilding they had going over there. So that was kind of what led me to go to Illinois, but things kind of didn't work out that way. So that's why I ended up going to Vanderbilt, where I had much more success at. So
yeah, you had a ton of success at Vandy, man. Really had put together incredible numbers. And then you jump into the NFL with Tampa. Got a little run with New England, and then now we're here. I looked at you this summer watching you on the practice field. You look like the same guy that came into the league. How do you feel?
I feel like the same guy. I'm just kind of waiting for my turn, like waiting for my chance to go out there and really show what I can do, what I can bring to a team, and that's just kind of keeping my head, understanding where I'm at, accepting where I'm at, and kind of going from there.
What do you think of the kid so far? I mean, he's just rumbling. Jordan Mason has just had 2 amazing games. And what do you think of him? You're a pro.
I used to hear about him before I got here because we kind of from the same area. So I already knew about him. When I got here, then to actually see him play, run, press with him. I love to see how hard he run. I'm in his ear if he need anything. So just that I've been in the league longer, so I know a little bit more. So I'm in his ear, pushing him.
Are you?
Yeah.
Contact balance. Somebody was saying the kid's got crazy contact balance. That's a huge thing for a running back, contact balance.
Yeah.
What is there anything that you guys do in the off season to try to hone that or work on that? What can you do to work on your balance like that?
I believe some people like to gear to like leg power, squats or whatever you're doing, but I feel like that's natural. Like you just gotta have it. I mean, you could work on it, but I remember Alvin Kamara used to do some off-season training with balance. So, I mean, you can work on your balance. That's always a good thing. Cause I used to work on my balance back in college. So, anything as far as balance, working on one leg, anything, catches, one leg, just standing there. So, any balance, look, exercises, I guess.
Yeah. You played New England. What was it like playing for Belichick? What was it like being around Belichick?
So I got there like the last 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
It was a bad season, so I didn't get the best of them.
Sure.
The best of everybody. So I feel like they was kind of already just ready to wrap it up when I got there. But I like the meetings. I like how Belichick addressed team meetings and everything. So yeah, I like everything around there. Even with Mayo, the new coach, he was cool when I was there too. So.
Was he? How about Brady? You played with Brady in Tampa. Tell us about Brady. What stands out about Brady?
He is who he is. Everything you hear about him, that's who he is. He's work hard, dedicated. And just to see it live in person was impressive to me.
What do you think of Brock so far?
Same thing. Kind of building up. I see the team is around him, team leaning on him a lot. So just seeing him carry the team is a good thing.
Keyshawn, good luck to you this year. Thanks for the time.
Thank you for coming on.
There you go. It got a little loud. They were playing some music there in the locker room at the end. But Keyshawn Vaughn has got balance. He's got experience. He's not old, and he's not a burner. He's got 4.5 speed, but he's solid. He's a solid running back, and if they need him, I think he's a guy that they can depend on, and probably could go to maybe as soon as tomorrow. We'll see who gets activated today. As the Niners get ready. They're traveling today to Los Angeles, and of course, they play the Rams tomorrow. All right, we'll take one final timeout. We're going to come back next and talk about the keys to the game and what the Niners look like 2 games in. That's next as we continue with 49er Forecast on the Sports Leader. All right, welcome back to 49er Forecast. Larry Krueger with you on this Saturday for a few more minutes. Marty Lurie, I think, is going to take over on the YouTube channel here, top of the hour. Let's talk about keys to victory in this one. I think this is a game where you got to lean heavily on Brandon Ayuk. You don't have Kittle, you don't have Debo, you don't have CMC. You paid Brandon Ayuk a ton of money to be the number 1 guy. It's time for him to step up. You gave him a couple weeks to shake off the rust. It's now time to lean on Brandon. I did see him get separation last week and the ball still didn't come his way. He needs to see the ball a lot in this game against the Rams. So lean with no Debo, no CMC, no Kittle. Those guys are all out. Lean on Brandon Ayuk. Lean on Brandon Ayuk. And also lean on Jordan Mason. Run the heck out of it. Jordan Mason is leading the NFL in rushing yardage. He's had 100-yard day and 147-yard day. Feed the big boy. I mean, he is absolutely a powerhouse. What a fantastic young player he is. And if you had told me early in the year that the Niners would be leaning this much on Jordan Mason, I never would have believed it. But he looks great. So lean on him, lean on Ayuk offensively. On defense, you got to get Jared Verse and Byron Young blocked. You got to keep that duo off of Purdy. Versus the rookie out of Florida State. Young's a second-year player out of Tennessee. They're both 260 pounds, and they both play the run and the pass well coming off the edge. Young had 8 sacks last year. He gets after the quarterback. Verse is enormously strong for an edge rusher. He can play inside if you need him inside. But those two outside backers in this 34 front are just a major problem. And if the Niners can't get Verse and Young blocked, they may lose this game. And then offensively, take care of the football. Brock's got to, if you're not going to be as dynamic, and you're not as dynamic without Debo, without CMC, and without Kittle, take care of the football. You can't throw picks. You can't have fumbles. You can't turn it over. And that goes for Mason, all the receivers, and Brock. Got to hang on to the ball. You can't turn it over. There's only 10 possessions or so, 10 offensive and 10 defensive possessions in an NFL game. You can't give away a couple of them, 20% of them, because of turnovers. So those are the keys offensively. Take care of the ball, block Verse and Young, and lean heavily on Ayuk and Jordan Mason. That's just the general overview offensively. And then defensively, you got to play games up front. I mean, Stafford is a proven veteran quarterback who's getting rid of the ball in 2.66 seconds. If you give him time to throw, he will carve you up like a Thanksgiving turkey. If you get in his face and knock him around a little bit, he gets skittish. The Rams have a bunch of changes on their offensive line with injuries and young guys and signings in the offseason. Play games up front. All kinds of stunts, all kinds of movement. Make their line communicate with one another. I think that's the best game plan up front. Then you got to really wrap up on these two running backs. Kyron Williams is small, but he's shifty. Same with Blake Corum. They're small, but they're powerful. You can't lose sight of where they are, and you got to wrap them up. You got to bring a lot of hats to the party. You can't let Tutu Atwell get over the top like Justin Jefferson did last week. And Tutu Atwell is way faster than Justin Jefferson. Tutu runs in the 4.2s. Jefferson ran in the 4.4s. If Tutu Atwell, if they can go up top to Tutu Atwell, and the Niners are trying to match up with George Odom or Jair Brown, the Niners are going to lose this game, because Tutu Atwell is going to run right on by. So, and when you show film that you showed Jefferson going deep against Odom, just bank that they're going to try to get Tutu Atwell down the field. And they're going to take, I would say, 2 or 3 shots to Tutu down the field. They're going to try to go over the top with Tutu. And if they do, they're going to win. Simple as that. Defensively, Collins and Hargrave. Paging Collins and Hargrave. Those guys were non-factors. You could have parked a car between them and Darnold last week. They got to be a factor. They've got to be a factor. Absolutely have to be a factor. In the run game, in the pass game, Collins and Hargrave can't be no-shows. They no-showed in week 2. They got to communicate better off the, down the field, and they got to get off the ball, get off the field on 3rd down. They got to communicate better on the back end. This is really where Talanoa Hufanga comes into the mix. He's a major part of that. And then I think more than anything, they got to be ready to defend the screen pass. The Niners have not been great against the screen pass. So who are the Niners 2 weeks in? Well, I think what they are, if you just want to say, they're a team that is leading the NFL in time of possession. Brock Purdy is processing well at the line of scrimmage. He's very accurate. He just completed 78% against Minnesota. The Niner receivers are not getting the separation that they did a year ago. Why? I'm not sure. Is it conditioning? Is it rust? Is it age? Is it injury? I don't know. But they're not getting that separation. J.P. Mason leads the NFL. He's got 48 carries in 2 games. Feed J.P. Mason. The Niner line, I think, is a better run blocking line than a pass blocking line. Jake Brendel has the lowest PFF pass blocking grade thus far. The offense is going to be without Kittle, Debo, and CMC. The Niners have to lean on some of these other backup guys. Saubert, Ronnie Bell, Chris Conley, Jacob Cowing. Some of these guys are going to have to step up. Hargrave and Collins, as I said, need to play much better. Bosa and Floyd, they're a productive duo if they can stay healthy. Floyd had a bad week 2 and he had a great week 1. He needs to get it going. The Niners lack defensive end depth, but Fred Warner's playing at a crazy high level. The Niners safeties are struggling to cover. The Niner DBs need to coordinate better and communicate better on the back end if they're going to win this game. And they can't make special teams gaffes. Simple as that. You can't have a muffed punt. You can't have a blocked punt. They got to be clean on special teams. If they do all those things, they should win this game. I'm going to say 24-17 49ers. That's going to do it for us. Thanks to all of our guests. Thanks to Renardo Green, Talanoa Fonga, Fred Warner. Thanks to Eric Saubert, Jacob Cowan, Keyshawn Vaughn. Thanks to Kev. Thanks to all of you. Enjoy Marty. He's up next on KMBR's YouTube channel and on KMBR on the radio side for a little Giants pregame. Have a great weekend. Check us out tomorrow on 49er pregame with Copes and Lund tomorrow morning before Niner football. I'll join them and it should be great. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy some college football. Go Niners. Thanks for watching 49er Forecast.